You're listening to Brandon Sports Talk, interviewing professional athletes and Paralympians and Olympians. And now for your professional athlete interview and your host, Brandon P.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Lawrence University's head women's lacrosse coach, Coach Ben Morhac. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you want to get started in coaching in college women's lacrosse?
Yeah, I knew growing up that I wanted to coach. I was fortunate enough to play a lot of different sports growing up, and you get to interact with a lot of different coaches and personalities. Lacrosse was brought to me later in my life. I grew up in Ohio, so lacrosse wasn't really as big as what it was on the East Coast, but the more you play it, the more you fall in love with it. It's just kind of one of those sports. So, it was kind of one of those things where once you're done playing, when college is over, you kind of want to stay involved. Um, and numerous opportunities for high school coaching, right? So when I moved to Columbus, opportunities to become an assistant coach, and that was kind of like the start of my career. And it's kind of one of those things, once you start, you really don't want to stop unless you absolutely have to.
What was that experience like playing collegiate lacrosse in college?
Yeah, I loved it. Anytime you can play a sport that you love at a super high level, I don't know many people that want to jump at the opportunity. You get to make some lifelong friends. You get to travel some places that you may not normally get to travel to. So, um, it's definitely up there in terms of like I think what you can experience in college. Loved it.
What was that experience like getting onto the collegiate level of coaching and first coaching the men's and women's lacrosse?
Yeah, honestly, a dream come true. When Clark gave me the opportunity, obviously being the head men's and women's coach is a big responsibility, right? We're in the same season and the games are usually back to back. So you're ending one game, having a little recap with your team while the other team warms up, and you got to run back out on the field, get ready for the next game. But, luckily, Kurt, the AD there, saw something in me that he said, I trust you to take over the programs. And obviously been coaching ever since. So you need someone to believe in you to get started. And luckily, Kurt was that guy that believed in me. It's definitely it's a challenge, right? Like coaching isn't exactly easy. I think a lot of people think it's literally just on the field stuff, and there's so much more. So when someone actually shows the confidence in you to not just run one program, but two. I think it's a huge honor. So it was the dream come true, but the reality hit real quick that was going to be a ton of work, but work well worth it. It was amazing.
How was that experience like going to Morningside College and meeting their head women's lacrosse coach?
Yeah, so it was kind of the the same situation as Lawrence. It was a startup team, so I guess this is my second round of doing it. I kind of joked with my family. I was just kind of manifest destiny out west. I went from the east side of Iowa to the west side of Iowa. Um, Morningside. I think the big thing for me is you learn something at each place you go, right? Whether it be personally, whether it be with other people that you coach with, or how schools handle things. Everything is a learning opportunity to help you in the future. Um, Morningside, very good at numerous NAI sports. I think at the time their football team had won two or three back to back like national championships. always historically in the top five. Women's volleyball was always making the national tournament. Basketball was always making the national tournament. I think wrestling had national championships. So, anytime you can go to a super high profile athletic department at any level and learn from those coaches, even though it may not be lacrosse, um, is invaluable. And, the men's coach I was with, he came from D2 program. So even just learning how he did things, it's just a great opportunity, right? So like the people that I met there, the things that I've learned definitely have helped me grow as a coach and a person along the way.
What was that experience like after your previous head coaching stops coming to Lawrence and starting that program?
Yeah, so Clark and Morningside were NAI programs. Notre Dame College was D2, so this is my first D3 job. So obviously the big difference, right, is no athletic scholarship money at D3. You're kind of recruiting a different kind of player. Um, but again, I think it challenges you each place you go to learn new recruiting methods and different areas you can recruit. Um, each school brings new challenges, right? So it's always a curveball on like how can you be successful? What do you need to learn to be successful, and all this other kind of stuff that comes along with the job. So again, each school you learn something, whether it be how to work with faculty or how to work with the professors. And every place you go, you can pull something. You might have to tweak it here or there, right? Because every school is so different. um, but there's always stuff that you can bring with you that, helps you at your last school to be successful and, helps you at least hit the ground running when you get to your new school.
Can you talk about a course the culture that you started to build for Lawrence women's lacrosse program?
Yeah, anytime you start a new program, there's a lot of firsts and new things, right? So it's culture, it's tradition, it's, anything and everything you want your team to be, anything and everything you want your players to be, and who you want on your program. I think the biggest thing that we're really focusing on here is just a super positive atmosphere. Um, Startup D3s, is historically a mix of girls that have a lot of experience and maybe some girls that want to give it a shot, right? It's just kind of the nature of a startup D3 program, especially in the Midwest. So we have a combination of both. And I think the beautiful thing that we have currently, and I'm, hoping that it continues. Um, each day, everyone's just so positive, like everyone makes mistakes. It's a part of the game. It's part of the growing process. Um, no one gets down on each other. Everyone is super happy to be there. Everyone is happy to be with their teammates. They're happy to be playing the game, whether it's been for a long time or this is their first time. And so the positivity with each other has been amazing. And I really hope that's something that just kind of continues and we can just keep growing on it.
What was that feeling like the first time you got to step onto the lacrosse field as head coach?
Head coach in general
Hmm.
or at Lawrence?
Lawrence.
I mean, obviously, when you get hired on to build a new program, um, it's special. Um, Again, it's someone trusting you to start and build something. So, I think our stadium's super cool here. It's the Banta Bowl. It's amazing. If you haven't looked it up, look it up. Um, so being able to go out there and practice, and it's a new program, so we don't have the permanent lines on the field yet. Um, so especially going out there and seeing them painted on for the first time was really, really cool. And of course, I'm that guy. I took pictures, I posted it. I was amped up. So being able to see that for the first time and being like, yeah, hey, this is really happening. Like this is our first season. Our first game is wow, like a month and 2 days away. Now that I look at my calendar, um, it's really cool. I love it. I mean, I think our stadium is amazing. I think the atmosphere is going to be super cool. That first home game is going to be awesome. So, um, I'm excited, a little nervous, right? Anytime you get the first one, it's a little nervous, but I think it's an awesome opportunity and it's going to be really, really cool.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against?
Yeah, so our conference has kind of shifted a little bit. We added some teams from another conference. So you have Aurora University. Our conference is mainly like Wisconsin and Illinois. So you have Aurora and Lake Forest and Illinois Tech, Concordia, Wisconsin, Beloit, Edgewood, Marion. Um, the one team in Iowa is Cornell. There's some other ones, but I won't list all of them. But yeah, no, I mean, it's good competition. Aurora has kind of won the conference for, man, I think like the past 4 or 5 years. They've just been dominating. Lake Forest was one of the teams that came over from another conference, and they have made the national tournament, I think, the past 2 years. So we got some tough competition in the Midwest, and especially for a new program, at least you get to see where you line up and where you got to be to really compete at a high level.
What is that home game atmosphere like when Edgewood comes to home versus going to Lake Forest?
Yeah, they're already, doing things for us. We've been getting emails like, hey, the President's Plaza is going to be open for the first home game. And, we're getting custom made towels for the inaugural season. Um, the school and the higher ups at the school are really amped up about lacrosse. It helps that they're all from like the East Coast. It's like New Jersey and New York kind of everywhere, Philadelphia area. So they're just used to lacrosse and high level lacrosse. So they're really excited for it to get going. I know they're super excited for the men's team as well. So I'm sure, hopefully the weather isn't super cold and we can get a good crowd. But yeah, I think, a lot of people will come because they're interested to see how the game is played and they just want to learn, but then obviously support their friends. So hopefully it's a really good atmosphere.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play collegiate lacrosse?
So the best advice I can kind of give for prospective student athletes is definitely just be proactive. Even on the phone calls, I always say everyone's recruiting process is different, right? Like there are some kids where as soon as they can start talking to schools, they commit to a school within a week. And there are still seniors that I'm talking to today, and it's February of their senior year. And there are some that won't pick a school until May or June of their senior year after they graduate. Um, for me is reach out to the schools that you're truly interested in, do your research, do a ton of phone calls. I always highly encourage people to visit any and every type of school. The ones far away from home, the ones close to home, the big schools, the small schools. Sometimes you think you know what you want, and then you go to a school that you didn't really have on your list just to kind of see how it is, and you fall in love. Um, so be proactive, get those highlight reels up, let coaches know what tournaments you're going to be at. Send them your schedule. Most of us, if we're going to be at that tournament, trust me, we will find time to come watch you play at least one game. Watch people play in person is so much better. Um, and then once that happens, go on the phone, get your application in, and come to campus and see what the school's all about.
As a head coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen put on that first Lawrence uniform for the first time?
Yeah, awesome. Obviously, I mean, anytime you can see the girls in the Lawrence colors, it's a really cool opportunity. Although usually it's for media day, and God knows they love their media day. But especially that first game day, it's really cool because you see them in their travel team colors and their high school colors, and sometimes you still get the girls that come from a navy and white school to come to a navy and white school. But a lot of the times it's drastically different. So seeing the kids that you recruited, the girls that truly want to be a part of Lawrence University and come to your program with the girls that you already have and just be together in unison and all have the same kind of look and feel. It's really, really cool. And then obviously once you get to see that on the field, it's just something special, right? Like it's what you hope for as a coach and it's what you look forward to as a coach. So anytime you can have that, it's a special moment.
How is it like getting to see them achieve those first big milestones like first goals and first hat tricks?
Yeah, I mean, especially for a first year program, it's huge, right? It's kind of one of those things where I've been thinking about like, do you ask for every like first ball, right? Like the first goal in program history, the first goal for a girl that's never played before, like am I gonna have to have like a baggie full of game used balls and mark all of them? And it's nice to be able to do stuff like that, right? Like that was a huge thing that we did on my last program. Like any big moment, we would just get the game ball, and it was huge. I mean, the girls loved it. Game balls where their efforts were rewarded. Um, anytime you can recognize people for positive things, I don't think enough people do that. So being able to do that especially in sports where you do work really hard to see the success on the field. Um, it's amazing. Obviously, I think the cooler thing is whenever someone gets their first ever goal and you get to see the team's reaction, right? Like the team goes crazy. They like minor league like maul them because they're so excited. Um, it's really fun to watch, and obviously the passion they have for the game and for each other and wanting to see their teammates succeed. There really isn't much better than that.
What is that like getting to see those seniors putting on that uniform for the last time and achieving those last big milestones?
Emotional, right? I mean, especially if you've been at a program for a long time, those are potentially kids that you have known since they were juniors in high school. You may not have been coaching them the whole time, but the recruiting process, you really get to know some of these kids. Um, so being able to be a part of the process where you recruit them, they trust you with their athletic career. They come to your school. They work for you for 4 years to, make the team as good as they can, to be as good as they can be. And all of a sudden, it's their senior year, and you just kind of know, like, hey, this is kind of like their last run. Um, it's emotional. It's exciting. You obviously want the best for them, right? Um, but a message that we always say is like, hey, you only get one opportunity with this team, especially for those seniors. This is your last opportunity to really accomplish something special, and everyone's idea of something special is different. But whatever that is, like it's the last run. So don't hold back, give it everything you got, and let's see what we can accomplish.
What is it like as a head coach getting to see them going into professional lacrosse playing for Athletes Unlimited?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it's a super elite league, right? I mean, there's only a handful of teams. And obviously PLO has kind of taken over the professional women's game, and they have 4 teams. So, hopefully they expand the teams a little bit, but the product is extremely elite. Every single player out there can just absolutely ball out. So it's exciting to see. I think the growth of the game is tremendous. I think we're definitely going in the right direction. Um, it's exciting to see what the future holds and where it can go. And just the different kind of players that can go on to play is really cool. So, um, obviously, again, the future is bright. We'll see what ends up happening, but anytime you can have that happen, it's a special opportunity.
What advice would you have those incoming freshmen, and what future plans do you have for the program?
Advice for future freshmen: get out there and explore new opportunities. Right, so not necessarily just lacrosse related, right? Like especially at the D3 level, I think the big thing that I've been preaching, I was a D3 athlete, so I can kind of speak on it. Um, D3 really lets you explore opportunities, right? Each division kind of has their own rules on how long you can practice or what you can or cannot do. I think D3, if you want to be a part of a club, go join that club. If you're not sure, go to a meeting, see if it's for you. Um, you want to go watch the basketball team play, do it. Go support your friends, go make new friends. Our hockey team is off campus. So like, hey, go explore off campus and go support the hockey team. Um, you want to take advantage of what Appleton has to offer, go do that. Like college is 100% an experience. So it is absolutely everything and anything that you want your experience to be. So don't hold back. Everything's worth trying. If it's not for you, no harm, no foul. So I definitely think like just be open to opportunities and exploring options. Um, and then really like kind of just where we want the program to be and to go. Again, it's kind of one of those things where, like I said earlier, I want our lacrosse program to be a positive culture where people genuinely enjoy coming and playing. Luckily, Lawrence is kind of separated athletic side and academic side. So when they're on the athletic side, like any struggles you're having with academics or issues, you can just kind of leave that there and come enjoy being part of the sport that you love. Have fun with your friends. But again, like we want it to be a program of opportunity. You get the opportunity to play in college, make the most of it. We want to use the ability to get games to be an opportunity for you to see different parts of the country. So, in 2026, we already have games in, Northwest United States. We're going to Washington. I've never been to Washington. I'm 37. So even for me, I'm excited for that, right? So like being able to use lacrosse as a way to explore and experience new things. Um, so yeah, I mean, I want us to be a competitive program. I want us to be one of the top programs in the Midwest. I want us to have a good time, enjoy our time together, build a positive culture, have people go home and proud to wear the Lawrence Lacrosse University apparel, um, and be able to come back when they're alumni and say, "Hey, I was on the first team, the first like two or three teams, and I was one of the big pieces to making this program what it is today, and proud and happy to come back and support the program."
What advice would you give those seniors that have aspirations of playing in Athletes Unlimited?
Hard work pays off, right? I think there's a lot of sacrifices that have to be made to compete at that kind of level. Um, but the sacrifices you make are worth it, right? So if you want to accomplish bigger and better, sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit more to accomplish those goals. But again, once you accomplish the goals you set, there's nothing better in the world than being able to say that you did it. So um, don't be scared to go above and beyond and do what other people aren't willing to do.
What advice would you give those future head coaches that have aspirations of building their own program?
Be prepared for the unexpected. Um, Again, I think a lot of people think coaching is just going on the field and X's and O's, and it's so much more. They should call us recruiters, where our side job is coaching. There's administrative work, there's recruiting, there's I mean, geez, I can go on forever, right? We're like travel agents, anything you can imagine, we do it all. So is it tough at times? 100%. Most jobs are. And just like I said with the professional athlete thing, when you put your mind to it and you put in the work, when everything comes together, it's beyond rewarding. So anyone that's looking to coach in college or start a new program or anything like that, just understand there's probably going to be ups and downs, more downs than ups at times. Um, but at the end of the tunnel, when you get to see the final picture of all of the hard work that you've put in, and then at the end of the day, your athletes put in, um, no matter the result of the game, it's 100% worth it because you get to see the hard work and really what came of it. So longer hours than expected, but 100% worth it.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the program at?
So I believe our Instagram for the program is LUW obviously stands for Lawrence University. And then me personally, I'm pretty sure mine is just at Coach Morhac 66. If you go on there, you're just going to see a lot of pictures of my dog. Love my dog. But yeah, no, definitely give us a follow. We're going to be posting a lot more stuff of us practicing and highlight videos. So, once we really get going here, you'll be able to see a lot more of who we are.
Thank you again, Coach Ben Morhac, for your interview and best luck in your future at Lawrence University as the head women's lacrosse coach.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, and Twitter at Talk_Brandon. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Ben, for your interview and best luck in your future.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.